I want to welcome you to Raw Talk. And a funny thing happened this week. I recently got back from Europe. At the moment, I'm in Dubai. And this key mindset shift started to remind me of what really worked about myself and how I became a millionaire at the age of 26. I probably hit it by 25, but by the time everything's actualized and by the time you start purchasing property and you start to have a net wealth and you start to actually bring that real income in, it was most likely 26 until I fully realized. And the mindset shift was this. A lot of people, especially men these days, they feel responsible to be able to move themselves forward and more importantly, like make something of themselves. And there's a lot of guys out there right now that know deep down what they're worth. That's exactly how I was. I knew exactly what I was worth and what I was meant to do. And the reason why I knew this was it was like embedded inside me. I played professional cricket, when I was young. I went to acting school before that. I've studied double degrees and master's degrees. And even at the age of 9 or 10 years of age, I used to sit there telling my parents, hey, like, I'm not normal. Please don't think I'm going to have a normal job. Don't treat me as normal. Let me do what I want to do, because I knew I'd be living a life of abundance from then till even now. And when I rewind that clock to when I was 26 and I became a millionaire, I started to think like, what was that mindset that got me there? And it was someone that was never afraid to have the conversation. And what I mean by this is a lot of men out there are just afraid to ask, right? To reach out, to say, hey, I want to achieve this. What do I need to do? Or more importantly, speaking to people that can actually help them, like help them in their journey to go from, hey, like this is how you get a loan. Or, this is how you can structure your business better. Or, hey, this is how you can leave your 9 to 5 job because you can start to make cash flow over here based on the opportunities you have right now. And maybe it's an ego thing, or maybe because all men are starting to watch all these guys on social media like this video here. But if you feel like you're insecure or you feel like you're not good enough because you're watching these guys out there or other people out there succeed, it's absolutely incorrect. And it's a false belief. And what you need to do is actually wake up, because you should use that to inspire you to know it's actually possible. And a lot of the time, you start to feel sorry for yourself. And this is what happens to so many men. It's even happened to me. I've come to Dubai, and guys, I'm the smallest fish here. I've purchased 45 properties. I'm fully self-sustained. I don't need to work another job ever. I don't need to do a job in my life forever based on the skill set that I have or the assets that I've accumulated or even the knowledge that I can implement to start from zero again. But I am still the smallest fish here. And sometimes that can make you so insecure, you can get inside your own head. Well, let me tell you this. The answers are not inside your own head. If you haven't found them in 2 minutes, you need to start to search and ask the right questions. And sometimes the fear of asking the right questions, because of the apparent response that you will receive that you're making up in your own head, is actually stopping you. Because there's so many people out there that are willing to help, even for free, even if it's part of their job. They're willing to help you, but you're just not taking it. And then you'll look back in 80 years, and this is the realization that I had. I'll look back in like 80 years and go, why didn't I just have that one conversation? You know? And I'll tell you how all this came about. So this week, I'm restructuring everything. I come back from Europe, my goals have gotten even bigger, and I started to ask my banks, you know, what does it look like if I made this decision in this business? Or even, I'm going to be serious, I even said, if I stop doing this business. Because sometimes I realize I'm wasting so much freaking time on so many things that aren't making me any progress in my life, that I start to think to myself, is it really worth it? And you need to ask yourself the same question, because that is the mindset shift that makes someone go from earning $100,000 to $1 million, is to actually hone in on something. And I had that realization where I'm like, if something's not doing me well, let me have the conversation. And think about this, ringing up your bank going, hey, I'm thinking about cutting a business, which means maybe dropping income, or people not understanding your vision, right? Or them not understanding the greater picture on how you're going to pivot into something else. It's a scary conversation. And truthfully, I held off this conversation for 3 to 4 months. And long story short, it's that mindset shift where I took myself back to that 26-year-old. I had no worries in the world. I was on the bank every day. And so what crept in? I started to understand what crept into my mind where I thought not having the conversation is a better idea than actually having the conversation. And let me tell you this, you're never going to even have a chance at winning the race, and you've already lost the race even if you don't participate. So you need to participate. You need to have those conversations with people that can actually help you. Anyway, so I made this call, and I started to find out the real answer. And the real answer was I want to accumulate more property because they go up in value every single year. And every single property that I own actually pays me cash flow at the end of the week. I don't have to contribute to it. And based on the strategies that I've implemented over my career so far, purchasing 45 properties and having 5 subleases in Dubai, it's like, okay, what do I need to do to actually accumulate more? And if I do make these changes, this is what the conversation was about. What actually happens and how does it impact? And the answer was fantastic. A lot of banks out there can actually do something called a lease doc loan, where they'll actually just give you the loan based on the leases of that property rather than assessing your serviceability. That was the answer. And that was the answer I was looking for the whole time because I know how to find the property that's going to provide me so much cash flow based on the leases that are already in place that the actual cash flow from the tenants actually pays for the mortgage, and that will suffice the banks. And that was the only answer I was looking for. And it gave me so much confidence after a 20-minute call. It almost changed my life. And that was the mindset that made me a millionaire. And sometimes revisiting what you've done as your old self and just re-implementing those habits sometimes works all the time. So guys, if you're out there right now and you're a man and you've got that lack of confidence, you're scared of having those conversations, you want to embody success and you know you're worth more, just remember this one thing. There's always someone out there. And for me, it's property, right? For me, it's property. It goes up in value every single year. Some of my properties have gone up $1 million in one year because we've made improvements. And I can't make $1 million from any job that I do just like that, especially not turning up to it every day, not answering questions every day. The property doesn't ask any of that from me. It just sits there and it accumulates. It's rental income and it appreciates over time because other properties start to actually sell for more because the demand increases over time. But not only that, the cash flow every single week. We convert these properties to higher quality tenants. I know exactly how to position those properties to actually improve them. That's my skill set. And if I can continue to do that in my own life, not only are we talking about being a millionaire, but it just gives me a whole set of freedom to make better quality decisions. And it's not even about the money or the materialistic aspect that comes from the properties. I've bought supercars. I've had over $1 million of cars in my garage, at stages. I bought cars cash if I had to at the time, right? I've had all the materials. I still wear the same clothes every day. But the fact is that if you can know what the formula is and you do know how to implement it, just have the conversations because the conversations will get you a lot further than actually bottling up inside your head. I wish you all the success in the world. And remember, you can continue to come back here. If you want more of this style of content, just let me know. Drop a comment below. Follow me on Instagram. If you want to work one-on-one with me, you can as well. We've actually opened this up for Parasha Properties. I actually launched this year. Funny enough, I launched Parasha Properties this year because we want to make 100 millionaires. If I'm even 80 and I know I've made 1,000 millionaires and my first goal is 100 millionaires, I'll die satisfied because in the end of the day, I know I can make it for myself and that own individual success for myself. But if I can also make it for other people and actually cause abundance on a larger scale, not only will we win short term, but we'll also win eternally as well. I'll see you in the next one.